Towards the end of last episode, we talked about ideal-centric life in brief. In this episode and in the subsequent episodes, we will do a little deep dive into ideal centricity and ideal centric life. In this context, I recall a conversation between American journalist Michael James and Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. Michael James was on a tour of India and he came to the Satsang Ashram to meet Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. In the course of the conversation with him, he asked Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra one question. He asked him, Thakur, can you explain to me your ideology in just two words? In just two words. Sri Sri Thakur smiled at him and said, be concentric. These are the two words Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra said. What does being concentric mean? Well, to be concentric means to be with the center. In this world, everything and everyone has a center. Our life revolves around our center, the central force in our life, which guides our life, which holds our life together. If you look at the solar system, it's the sun which is at the center. And the sun holds all the planets together with its power of gravity. It has that magnetic pull through which it holds all the planets together. Not only all the planets, everything on the planets. So if you look at the planet Earth, all of us survive and draw energy from the sun. Had the sun not been there, planet Earth would have been a gigantic ice ball. If you want to draw a circle, you have to start with the center. The circle has a center. If you want to write a story, you must have a central theme of the story around which the story must revolve. The story needs to evolve and build on the central theme that you have. If you want to have a garland of flowers, you need to have a thread running through at the center, holding all the flowers together. Everything has a center. If you break an object into smaller units, parts, if you go to the minutest item, which is an atom, you will find at the center of an atom there is the nucleus around which the electrons revolve. So this central force, this unifying force, this gravitating force, which has the pull and the ability to hold together, is absolutely essential for everyone and for everything. That's what Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra wanted to convey to Michael James. Let's go back to the conversation. Michael James asked Sri Sri Thakur, oh, be concentric. Be concentric around whom? Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra said, be concentric around your living ideal. Have the living ideal at the center of your life and be with him. Well, who is this living ideal? Well, the living ideal is a personality, a living man who we can have at the center of our life, who can hold our life together. Like all the planets in the solar system have the sun as their central source of energy, the sun who holds them together. We need to have that living ideal, that personality, that life teacher, the guru in our life who can hold our life together. We need such a personality. Like the sun who is the center of the solar system, who is the source of energy for all the planets, who radiates light all the time. The living ideal at the center of our life radiates wisdom all the time. And we get enlightened by his wisdom. We need such a personality from whom we can receive enlightenment. Like the sun is the source of energy for all the planets, similarly, the living ideal is the source of energy to drive our life. We need such a living ideal. Now let's go back to the conversation between Michael James and Sri Thakur and Kul Chandra. Michael James asked Sri Thakur, Thakur, if Henry Ford becomes my living ideal, what happens? Sri Thakur smiled and said, if Henry Ford becomes your living ideal, you can become at best another Henry Ford, but you cannot become Jesus Christ. What a compelling and powerful statement. You can become another Henry Ford, but you cannot become Jesus Christ. Sister Thakur and Kul Chandra delivered the message that the higher is your ideal, the higher is your life. The greater is your ideal, the greater is your life. Which means the living ideal should be the greatest personality. He should be the manifestation of human perfection. He should be the most evolved, most reformed, most transformed personality on the earth. This conversation between Michael James and Sri Thakur and Kul Chandra emphasizes the need and the relevance of having a living ideal at the center of our life.